Have you ever felt an invisible force hold you back, just as success seems within reach? The real culprit may not be the fear of failure, but the subtle, often hidden fear of success itself. In this video, you'll discover the surprising Stoic principles that can help you master your emotions and unlock your true potential. The truth about fear of success, hidden Stoic insight, compiled and published by Stoic Mindfulness. Lesson 1. Uncovering the root of resistance. Imagine standing before a vast, silent lake at dawn, where the stillness feels both calming and unnerving, as if something hidden stirs beneath the surface. This is the landscape of your mind in moments of quiet ambition, where the things you truly desire shimmer just beyond the fog, yet a peculiar heaviness or hesitation keeps you rooted to the shore. You see the possibility, you feel the spark, but with each step forward, it's as if an invisible undertow drags at your ankles, whispering reasons to pause, to wait, to question your right to cross these waters. Most people believe fear manifests only as a trembling before danger, or a quickening heart in the face of defeat. But the quietest, most insidious resistance lives within the moments when you stare success in the eyes and, without knowing why, turn away. This struggle is not just your secret. It is a silent battle shared by countless seekers of growth. Picture the archer whose arrow trembles on the string, not from fear of missing, but from the weight of what hitting the mark might bring. Or the sailor who charts a course for brilliant open seas, yet feels a strange urge to anchor in the safety of fog-shadowed shallows. With every great hope comes an equal urge to resist, an internal paradox where mastering your emotions does not simply mean subduing panic or anger, but shining a gentle, persistent light into the dark places where your aspirations meet uncertainty. Too often, this resistance feels like misplaced humility or cautious prudence. You might say, "I'm not ready," or "there will be a better time." But really, there is a deeper conflict, a hesitation born of emotions you hardly realize you harbor. The fear that you might rise to your own full height and be unrecognizable to yourself or those around you. This tension gnaws at even the most confident spirits. When you work late into the night, resolving to reach higher, and then find yourself distracted before the memorable breakthrough. When new opportunities arise, and a little voice lists every possible reason you might not deserve them. These are moments where emotional mastery reveals its true face. The pain here is not in a lack of talent or desire, but in the root resistance that keeps you from moving forward, an unnamed doubt woven through your dreams. Every reader will recognize this, because it hides in the background of ambition, casting subtle shadows. The solution is not to wage war against this resistance, but to befriend it, to examine it gently as a wise Stoic might study the ripples on that dawn-lit lake. With simple, mindful awareness, you can decode its language. A signpost that need not block your path, but illuminate unspoken needs and neglected strengths. Imagine what would happen if you traded the reflex to flee or freeze for a quiet curiosity instead, trusting yourself as the ship trusts its compass and the archer trusts their aim, even when the winds are uncertain. Let your resistance become the landmark that guides you, not the chain that holds you back. This ancient yet living wisdom is the heart of every great Stoic teaching. To uncover the root of resistance is to recognize that your hesitation is neither curse nor sign of weakness, but rather the invitation to know yourself more deeply. The benefits of this simple shift are enormous. What you once mistook for insurmountable blockades transform into soft ground, fertile for courage and clarity. By learning to sit with your doubts and listen without judgment, you unlock an internal mastery that is both silent and unshakable. The fire beneath the stillness, always urging you onward. When you approach these moments with the mind of a trained Stoic, with patience, gentle inquiry, and steady self-belief, you give yourself permission to become undeniably self-disciplined and emotionally powerful. Each new victory over hidden resistance grows your capacity to stand undefeated, even in the face of bigger fears. You are no longer tossed by quiet tides of uncertainty, but instead, you become a true navigator of your mind and life, mastering emotion from the deepest root. This is the lesson the Silent Dawn teaches. Still waters are never truly empty, and every gentle inquiry gives rise to personal greatness. To apply this lesson, pause each day to notice your resistance, reflect on what triggers it, and write down your discoveries with honesty and compassion. Celebrate each insight gained as proof of your growing emotional mastery. As you cultivate this silent strength, you'll find purpose, courage, and control blooming within. In our next lesson, we'll explore how hidden fears can quietly sabotage even our best intentions. If you found value here, remember to subscribe, like, and share your own thoughts below so we can all evolve together. Lesson 2. Success and subconscious sabotage. Picture a lone archer in a quiet forest, her gaze steady on the distant bullseye. The only sounds are steady breathing, the wind rustling through leaves, and the taut string cradling the arrow. She is trained for this, her muscles know the motion. Yet just as her fingertip tightens for release, a second guess, a fleeting thought, tugs at her mind and alters her aim. The arrow flies, veering from perfection before it even leaves her grasp. In many ways, we are all this archer when confronting our own opportunities for success. We hold the skill, nurture worthy ambitions, and have mapped the path to our desired destination. But somewhere within we sense a background resistance, a shadowy tension that quietly nudges us off target. This isn't dramatic self-sabotage that calls attention to itself. It's silent, almost polite in its persistence. It's the subtle urge to procrastinate on applying for a promotion, to overlook a fantastic idea, to excuse yourself from center stage at the moment your name is called. Even those practiced in self-control encounter these invisible obstacles. You may know the disciplined routine of your work, navigate relationships with poise, seem on the verge of remarkable achievements, and still find progress slipping through your fingers like sand. The inner battle is as ancient as ambition itself. Within every mind that dares to dream, there stirs a voice cunning in its plausibility, whispering, "You're not quite ready." Or, "Do you really deserve this recognition?" This conflict isn't weakness, it is human, woven through the story of every person who's ever hoped for more. The consequence is missed momentum, lost opportunities, and stifled breakthroughs, not because the world pushes us back, but because, without realizing it, we plant ourselves in our own way. The real issue then is not that you lack vision or ability, but that subtle forces deep inside are protecting you from change they can't yet trust. Success demands transformation. It asks you to leave the comfort of familiar shores and risk discovering a new version of yourself. Your subconscious mind, which has learned to keep you safe from potential pain or judgment, cannot always distinguish between risk and reward. It offers you comfort in the language of doubt and distractions, shielded by patterns you rarely notice. We become like ships built to weather storms, but remaining in harbor out of habit, fearing the unknown strength of winds that could carry us to glory. This hidden sabotage leaves us anchored to old patterns, denying ourselves victory before the journey truly begins. The transformational solution lies in cultivating self-awareness like a lantern for the mind's deepest corridors. Begin to notice when your actions do not match your aspirations. Identify those moments where good intentions slip away, not from accident, but from subtle sabotage. Gently, without criticism, bring these acts into the light of conscious awareness. This deceptively simple practice cracks open the door to emotional mastery, revealing which beliefs or automatic reactions are trying to hold you back. In the world of Stoic wisdom, this self-examination is not harsh. It is compassionate, patient, and deeply curious. Every silent thought or nervous delay becomes a clue, a signpost on your journey toward true freedom. Imagine the difference if, in each crucial moment, you could train your mind to meet the whisper of resistance, not with frustration, but with calm curiosity. Picture yourself greeting doubts as passing clouds rather than gathering storms. What if the next time you feel yourself hesitate, you could pause, examine the impulse, and choose instead to act courageously? By exercising awareness, your inner world begins to shift. You notice patterns quicker, reclaim lost focus, and shape new habits aligned with who you wish to become. The benefits are profound. Clarity instead of confusion, consistent action instead of derailed dreams, a quiet confidence that outlasts momentary fears. With each step, you reclaim the ship's helm, steering purposefully even when uncertainty clouds the horizon. This is the living wisdom the Stoics offered, the invisible fire of disciplined awareness that survives any storm, guiding us safely through self-created fog and into the sunlight of our own potential. Begin by pausing each time self-doubt whispers, then question your hesitation and consciously reframe it as an opportunity for growth. Each time you do this, you become more resilient and focused, moving ever closer to your potential. Next, we'll reveal the hidden price of avoidance. Share your thoughts, like, subscribe, and help us build this empowering Stoic community. Lesson 3. The hidden cost of avoidance. In the heart of a quiet valley, untouched by the winds of change, grass grows tall and wild, tangled around fallen stones that once marked old paths. If you stand still and listen, you can almost hear the sigh of time passing, a subtle, silent price paid for every journey postponed, every risk abandoned in favor of comfort. There is a pull to stay where the ground feels familiar, to hesitate beneath the safe cover of unmade decisions, believing that waiting will bring clarity or courage with the next sunrise. But beneath that calm, the soul knows there are hidden costs, tolls paid not in currency, but in opportunities lost and the weight of what may never be. So many of us discover too late just how heavy avoidance becomes. We are taught to fear missteps, convinced that stumbling is proof of inadequacy, and so we stand motionless at the crossroads of our ambitions. Each time we turn from a challenge or edge closer to retreat, instead of progress, there's a quiet sacrifice, a passing up not just of possible failure, but also of unseen triumphs, personal growth, and a peace born from facing what frightens us most. It is a universal conflict. The urge to sidestep discomfort seems like self-preservation, but often settles like a slow-growing bindweed around the spirit, choking out boldness and narrowing our lives one quiet day at a time. There's a secret ache in the disciplined heart, a longing to leap that wars with the urge to wait. The questions repeat endlessly. What happens if I try and fall short? What will others think if I choose wrongly? Yet each excuse leaves a quiet dent in self-respect. As if with every instance of avoidance, we're building invisible walls within our own minds. This problem is not new. For centuries, Stoics have recognized the deep, unspoken cost of sidestepping fear. They saw people drifting as ships anchored in the disappointment of what might have been, holding silent regrets tighter than memories of joy or courage. The Stoic masters understood that emotional avoidance, no matter how masked by reason or practicality, was a thief of potential, a force that bars the fullness of who we're meant to become. True emotional mastery, they taught, is not about never feeling fear, but about refusing to let fear quietly rule the course of one's life. Emotional control does not mean numbness. It is a conscious willingness to meet discomfort and discover, in the doing, one's own strength. It is possible to train your mind to welcome what you resist and find there an undaunted self patiently waiting. The transformative solution is to approach avoidance as a messenger, not an enemy, a signal pointing to growth that can only happen outside the borders of certainty. When you notice yourself hesitating, gently ask, what am I afraid of losing or exposing if I step forward? Treat each moment of avoidance as a spark of curiosity rather than cause for shame. The shift begins simply. Instead of recoiling, resolve to take one small, contained action that edges you closer to what you fear. Just as a ship must feel the tide's pull to leave harbor, so must we accept discomfort as part of setting sail for anything worth achieving. Each time you move toward, rather than away from, a source of uneasiness, you prove to yourself that you can survive the unknown and, more importantly, thrive when navigating it. Imagine the effect if your inner world was ruled not by hesitation, but by patient engagement. What once was a silent cost paid daily to fear becomes a wellspring of self-respect, quiet pride, and new opportunity. You unlock hidden doorways in your character each time avoidance is dissolved through gentle action. Life itself expands, and the world grows richer before your disciplined intent. For this is the living reward of courage, a steady light that scatters old shadows and reveals what is possible when the silent Stoic within finally steps forward. Start by noticing each moment of avoidance, then deliberately choose one small action to gently face your discomfort. With every step, you'll grow more confident, unlocking resilience and self-respect. Embrace progress, not perfection. Next, we'll explore how fear sometimes disguises itself as humility. Subscribe, leave a like, and join the discussion in the comments to continue your growth. Lesson 4. Fear dressed as modesty. In the quiet spaces of the world, where dawn gently brushes light upon ancient stone and silent waters reflect the first gold of morning, there is a kind of beauty that almost whispers, "Hide." These moments call us inward, to humility and reflection, yet also to a peculiar shrinking, a tendency to grow small in the presence of potential greatness. Do you know this sensation? The internal pause when praise or opportunity beckons, the reflex to say, "It was nothing," instead of owning your part in accomplishment. The urge to blend into the background, just as life pushes you to the front. Beneath the soft cloak of modesty, a subtler emotion often hides. Fear. Like a shadow tucked into folds of gentle humility, it restrains your voice, your creative hand, your forward step, even when destiny calls you by name. This inner tug-of-war is familiar to anyone who has aimed for self-mastery or the disciplined pursuit of meaning. Our culture admires those who are humble, who make way for others, who deflect applause and pretend success is a matter of luck. On the surface, this looks noble, but deep down, countless moments pass in which humility isn't a true virtue, but rather the armor we wear to protect ourselves from criticism, envy, or the painful risk of vulnerability. Think of the silent archer, who standing at the edge of the clearing, dares not loose her arrow for fear all eyes will judge whether she strikes or misses the mark. How often have you dampened your own fire, told yourself it's best to wait quietly, managed your shining so others are not unsettled or jealous? These are the moments when modesty is a polite translation for fear, a way to remain safe and unseen while your heart aches for more. The problem is that unchecked, this habit of hiding limits both your growth and your ability to impact the world. Opportunities are lost, connections softened, dreams watered down until they are almost unrecognizable. To master your emotions and train your mind in the way of the Stoic is to see through this disguise. What you call modesty may sometimes be an unseen attempt to avoid standing out, risking criticism, or simply admitting that you want to rise higher. Pain rests in realizing how often you shrink, not because your soul lacks something, but because a deep, ancient fear prefers silence to the unknown weight of being extraordinary. Left unchallenged, this pattern molds your choices until your journey narrows and your gifts remain imperfectly hidden just beneath the surface, like gold veiled by river stones. The key to transformation begins with recognition. The solution is not to discard humility, but to remove fear from its company. Imagine humility as a clear pool, its water pure when free from shadow. You do not need to shout or boast to claim your ground. You simply need to let light in, to accept compliments with thanks, to let your skills, insights, and leadership be seen when the time for hiding has passed. The Stoics remind us that to be undefeated, one must act not from hunger for applause, but also not from dread of being noticed. Quiet confidence is not the absence of fear, but mastery of it, an inner flame that burns bright but steady, unshaken by either praise or skepticism. So try setting aside, just for a moment, the impulse to withdraw. Next time you feel yourself resisting visibility or underselling what you've built, pause and remember, humility chosen freely is strength. Humility born of fear is needless limitation. When you draw back the bowstring of restraint, ask, are you truly honoring others, or simply uncertain if your light deserves to be seen? The answer, gentle but firm, is always this: greatness walked quietly is still greatness, and the world is better served by your whole heart than your half-hidden gifts. By embracing this insight, you welcome both the power to attract new possibilities and the victory that lies in showing up, precisely as you are, unafraid of your own unique brilliance. Each time you receive praise, pause, breathe, and accept it with genuine thanks. Notice when you're hiding and gently challenge that reflex, letting your strengths show. As you practice, your quiet confidence grows, unlocking new opportunities. Next, we'll explore the complex balance between desire and doubt. Subscribe, like, and share your reflections below to deepen this empowering journey together. Lesson 5. Desire, Doubt, and Inner Conflict. Imagine a lantern burning in the quiet heart of night, its glow yearning to reach every corner of the darkness. Yet shadows dance along the edges, retreating and advancing in a silent tug-of-war. This is the landscape of desire and doubt within us. At one moment, you are pulled forward by strong hope or ambition, a goal that flickers just beyond your current reach, a possibility that awakens longing deep within your chest. In the next, an undertow of hesitation pulls you back, blanketing the spark in questions. Are you worthy of what you want? Will you fail? Would it somehow be safer to want less? This conflict is the secret challenge in every journey towards self-mastery. We all imagine desire as a straightforward wind filling our sails, yet rarely do we admit the storm of second-guessing that often steers us off course. You might work hard, plan your path with rigorous detail, and yet find yourself derailed by inner voices whispering doubts, sometimes so faintly you hardly notice until progress grinds silently to a halt. This phenomenon can be seen in the driven student who questions their preparedness on the eve of an exam, or the entrepreneur whose excitement burns bright until self-doubt cools it to ashes, leaving only unfinished projects and quiet regret. Even those with strong self-discipline and practiced routines recognize moments when their focus blurs, not from laziness, but because part of them secretly resists moving closer to the very things they thought they wanted. The pain comes not only from external setbacks, but from the war within. Over time, the repeated tension between hunger for growth and the paralyzing force of self-doubt can sap energy and erode confidence. Like a ship that revisits the same safe cove, reluctant to accept the challenge of open waters, you may find yourself circling familiar routines, comforted by the predictability of what's known, but haunted by the knowledge that each day you hold back what you truly desire. The light within you dims a little more. The world outside might never see your conflict, but you feel it. A slow drift from purpose, a creeping dissatisfaction with the smaller life chosen while your greater one waits just beyond the horizon of your courage. There is a way through this storm, and it does not require you to abandon desire or ignore doubt. The Stoic solution, profound in its simplicity, is to meet both forces as teachers. Instead of battling against longing or trying to crush hesitation, you learn to observe, accept, and work with them openly. When desire arises, pause and let yourself feel it fully, noting its power and direction without judgment. Welcome doubt in the same way, treating it as a counselor rather than an enemy. What hope or dream is doubt trying to protect you from falling overboard for? Which risk is it asking you to think through with greater care? As you approach both the flame and the shadow with gentle awareness, you unlock an inner mastery that empowers rather than restrains. When you train your mind to listen, you master your emotions, turning the storm into a steady wind. Desire points you toward your truest calling, while doubt polishes your decisions and deepens your wisdom. In this balanced space, you become both the silent stoic and the fearless seeker, undaunted, impactful, and able at last to chart a course guided by both heart and clarity. This is the living strength that Stoic traditions hand down through the ages, a simple, transformative truth with the power to unlock more disciplined action, authentic attraction, and quiet courage, even when shadows gather. When desire or doubt arises, pause, write down what you feel, and gently question both. By acknowledging your hopes and fears openly, you develop clarity and inner peace. This practice leads to decisive action and calm confidence. In our next lesson, discover how mindful courage can break stagnation. Subscribe, like, and share your experiences in the comments below. Lesson 6. Mindful courage to move forward. In the hush before a storm, the world is poised at the edge of decision, windless and electric, waiting for the first streak of lightning to split the silence. Each of us knows this quiet intensity on a personal level. The moment before you act, when hope and hesitation swirl together just beneath the surface of intention. This thin space, though seemingly still, holds immense power, for it is here that courage either stirs the will or falls asleep beneath a blanket of overthinking. To master one's emotions and unlock lasting silent strength requires a mindful form of bravery, one that does not bluster forward recklessly, but instead stands quietly resolute, ready to step over the invisible line that separates wishing from becoming. Within the slow-burning heart of the disciplined soul, this internal frontier is revisited again and again. Everyone who seeks self-mastery or any significant improvement meets this juncture. You want to speak your truth in a crowded room, but feel your hands tremble. You have a vision for your work or life, but falter just as the next step grows clear. There's a project you long to begin, or a relationship you would heal, but the fear of discomfort, failure, or unknown reactions makes the ground beneath you feel uncertain. You wait for certainty, approval, or divine timing before you act, imagining that courage will rush in like a raging river and compel you forward. Yet courage on most days is nothing so dramatic. Its voice is subtle, a steady, mindful nudge that gathers itself through repeated, gentle acts of will rather than sudden leaps. The pain point here is familiar and human. Many people spend years camped on the edge of change, cycling between planning, doubting, and half-hearted attempts. They read to inspire themselves, think about growth for hours on end, and then find themselves in the same place months or even years later. There is weight in this inertia, a growing awareness that someday might never come unless you claim it. The cost is not just in lost opportunities, but in lost self-belief. The conviction that you are someone capable, resilient, and willing to face discomfort in order to fulfill your calling fades each time you choose to watch the tides instead of setting sail. The solution is deceptively simple and deeply transformative. Instead of waiting for courage to appear as overwhelming confidence, the Stoics urge us to cultivate a mindful courage, one made from the conscious present choice to take just the next small step, regardless of the unease swirling in our minds. The core idea is to anchor yourself in this moment, observe your fear or reluctance, but then act anyway, knowing that real courage is calm, steady, and aware, not brash or rash. This approach turns courage from an unattainable peak into a daily practice, something that can be trained and refined, like the silent archer perfecting their aim in solitude, or a mariner choosing to trust the first faint breeze as they drift from shore. By adopting mindful courage, you experience direct and ongoing transformation. You prove to yourself day by day that your choices can move you forward even if your feelings still tremble. This is the fire beneath the silence, the kind of brave that builds itself through action rather than waiting for fear to die away. You develop an undefeatable core, not because you never feel fear, but because you grow larger than it through practice. The Stoics teach that every gentle step advances the mind and heart, making each act of will stronger, more resilient, more capable of withstanding future storms. Approached in this gentle, ancient way, courage stops being a mythical quality and becomes a living force within you, something you attract and generate as you train your mind. This is the path to true, impact-rich living, a journey across uncharted waters whose first movement, always, is a quiet yes, whispered to yourself in the presence of doubt. You can access this form of courage in your daily life, seeing with each step taken how the silent Stoic within you grows more confident, more present, and more ready for whatever comes next. Begin by pausing when faced with discomfort, acknowledge your fear, and deliberately choose one small forward action. With each step, courage becomes easier, building a foundation of strength and self-trust. Let practice make bravery your habit. Next, we'll learn to embrace greatness without attachment. Subscribe, like, and share your personal breakthroughs to inspire others in the community. Lesson 7. Embracing greatness without attachment. Imagine a mountain peak illuminated by the first urgent rays of dawn, standing above the shifting clouds. Silent, steadfast, and profoundly serene. Its grandeur is real, yet the mountain is neither proud of sunrise nor saddened when the mist obscures its heights. In this lesson, we are called to embody this same inner posture, not only to reach for greatness, but but to do so without becoming imprisoned by the desire for continual approval or unbroken recognition. It's the paradox that echoes through every genuine pursuit of excellence. The drive to rise must be balanced by deeper wisdom, the ability to release attachment to the outcome, whether that outcome brings applause or silence, wins or inevitable losses. For anyone who has advanced along the path of emotional mastery and self-discipline, a subtle new challenge emerges. As your efforts start bearing fruit, you gather momentum, pride, and often external recognition. But alongside accomplishment arises a quieter, less visible hurdle: the temptation to link your sense of worth too closely to results. Perhaps you feel anxiety returning before each new performance review, product launch, or major life event, or you find it increasingly hard to rest between goals, fearing you will somehow fade if you are not always moving upward or being acknowledged. This inner conflict can be especially potent for those who have worked to master their emotions and develop self-control. The more disciplined and driven you become, the more likely it is that your self-image will tether itself to visible achievement. This habit carves a subtle pain through even your brightest moments. When pride in your progress mutates into fear of slipping, when yesterday's satisfaction is shadowed by today's relentless striving, you may begin to sense a tightening tension after good news, almost as if the good must be hoarded or endlessly repeated to keep feelings of meaning and confidence alive. As soon as one ambition is realized, another target appears on the horizon, and stillness feels uncomfortable, as if pausing might unmask your value as conditional and transient. The result is not more peace or resilience, but a cycle of craving and unease, distorting the very joy that greatness was supposed to yield. The answer is a Stoic lesson handed down over generations: to give your best without letting worth become a hostage of victory or praise. The transformative practice at the heart of this solution is practicing wholehearted effort while gently letting go of your grip on results. Imagine again the archer who trains for years to seek the perfect release, attends to aim and breath, but surrenders at the moment of action any illusion that she can command the outcome once the arrow flies. Or picture the serene ship's captain, steering with mastery and vigilance, then trusting the wind and current once he's navigated the best route. In all great journeys, there comes a point where one must act with deep commitment, then rest in the knowledge that so much is beyond control. This mindset is neither careless nor passive. It is an active cultivation of inner freedom, a decision to derive strength from personal effort, to delight in progress, but ultimately to fall back into the unshakable calm of self-respect and spiritual presence. By training your mind in this way, you unlock a new level of emotional control, quiet impact, and magnetic certainty. The world senses this strength. People are drawn to those who strive wholeheartedly, then walk onward, undefeated, whether the world's gaze lingers or moves away. This is the silent Stoic, the person who embraces the highest aims but stands rooted, unbothered by storms or adulation, calmer each day in the knowledge that greatness means showing up as your fullest self, then letting go. It is one of the profound paradoxes of life that when you love your process more than its rewards, your capacity to achieve grows exponentially. Untethered by fear, unruled by ego, and entirely unlocked for whatever new horizon calls next. Focus on giving your best effort each day, then consciously release attachment to results. Notice how this shift brings peace, freedom, and renewed passion for your journey. As you separate your worth from outcomes, true confidence and joy unfold. Start today. Savor the process, embrace your growth, and let your greatness shine quietly, stronger, with every step you take. This journey through fear, doubt, and hidden resistance has shown how Stoic wisdom can unlock emotional mastery and invite true growth. Thank you for investing your time in this transformation. If you found value in this video, please like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more mindful insights.